All right, welcome to Never Had It So Good Sports Radio. I am Princess Robinson. The name has changed since we did this intro, and I have to make sure and put that out there so I can live in my house. So, welcome, my co-host Doug Riley. Why are you laughing? Why are you laughing?
You better change that. I'm telling you, Rev ain't gonna be putting up with that. But hey, Princess, I enjoy the music. I think I can bring the robot back, Princess. I think so.
Duck, no, that era is gone. Now, Duck, I was wondering when the song came out. I thought it was when I was in college. No, I wasn't even in high school in '76 when this song came out. Do you or when the album September and it's on the album? Do you remember this song?
Yeah, oh, Princess, I'm still dancing. I'm getting ready to sit down.
All right, all right, all right. I want to welcome in Lowe's Moore. How are you, sir?
I am great.
Yes, awesome, awesome, awesome. Now you are from West Virginia, or you played at West Virginia, or both?
I played at I played at West Virginia. I'm from Mount Vernon, New York, but born in Plymouth, North Carolina.
Okay. Now that's a trek from New York to going to college at West Virginia. We'll have to have that conversation off air. I want to welcome in my other co-host Tim Moore. How are you?
I'm doing well, Princess. How are you today?
I'm doing good. I'm doing good. Now, Tim and Duck, before we get started with Lowe's, I got a lot of comments and a lot of phone calls after our show last night. And most of them said I should have challenged him more. So I'm going to go and research. But now there were a lot of people who came forward against Sandusky, and I don't know if he can get away with that. So there were some things I was concerned about, but we didn't bring that up. I didn't want any gotcha journalism or negative journalism, but he brought it up and he wanted to carry that torch. Gentlemen, anything you all would like?
Yeah, the thing is that as you, I don't know if he was selling this book or what, but we all got different stories about what happened. I
Mhm.
wasn't there. I can only listen, ask questions just like you, but I hadn't heard anybody come out with anything positive to say as far as what went down, except for last night.
Yeah, yeah. Now I'm debating on whether Paterno knew or not, but if Paterno was who he says he was, and he's running that tight ship, I would be surprised. But I'm going to leave that up to those that were there. Tim, do you have any say? People raked me over the coals in text messages last night.
Yeah, and I that was the reason I asked the question because I was
Yeah,
stunned when he said that nobody was
was raped.
involved. He said that the things that were alleged didn't happen, and that's why I asked the question: are you saying that the administration did not engage in a cover up, or are you saying that nothing at all happened? And he doubled down and said
Yeah,
that he didn't think that Jerry Sandusky assaulted anybody. And that's when I just
exactly.
said, okay, what's the name of that podcast again? Because I want to hear this.
Yeah,
Yeah,
because the thing is too, what you're saying is, so he went to prison for not those allegations. Is that what we're saying?
that's
That's
what we.
what it sounded like to me that he was saying. And I'm going to listen to the podcast and try to keep an open mind. Oh, excuse
Okay.
me. I'm sorry. I dropped my
Yeah,
phone.
me
Try to
too.
keep an open mind about the information that's presented, and we'll see. But I'm like, Duck, that's the first time I've ever heard anybody say that nothing happened.
And double down on it, for sure. Tim and Doug Rev said, I just have a question. Did he know anything since he was there? Um, Sandusky. I'm not trying to, you know, uh, Dr. Justin Williams was a good interview last night, but he carried that torch, that bucket of water for Penn State, and he doubled down on it. So some people said I should have challenged him because the only one I thought that did really was Tim. Duck just he went ahead and finished his dinner and said, "Okay, buddy, go West Virginia."
But Princess, I don't blame you either, because as Duck was saying a moment ago, we weren't there. All we know is what we've heard,
Yeah,
and if there's more information out there that we haven't heard about that is covered in this podcast, I'm willing to listen to it
And
and see what it says. But as far as I've heard previously, he's the first person I've ever heard said that nothing happened.
And I'm not, and I don't mean to cut you off either, Tim, because the thing was, we had Blair Thomas on. It was never even brought up.
Yeah, another Penn State running back. The last thing, Tim, is that when I played the fight song, Doug said he just got disconnected, and but he
Yeah,
disconnected
I
real
heard him
quick.
say he was feeling a little ill.
Yeah.
See,
Well,
that's what I'm talking about.
see, now you're homeboy. But he did say Duck, and I'm gonna get to you loads more. When I said Duck isn't on yet, he said, "Yeah, right. The day he's not on." He said he can get on. So
Oh, who said that?
your boy, Tim Moore. Yeah, yeah. I'm snitching, Tim. But I love you though. I love you. All right.
Yeah, when you sent that fight song to him yesterday, I wasn't surprised that he was a little late coming on.
Yeah. All right, Losmore. Welcome to the show. I wanted to clean that up. Thank you for being on. Now, is Losmore and Tim Moore related at all?
No, I think it's a different set of Moors.
Okay. All
Yeah, we have no idea.
right. Okay.
We didn't do ancestry.com. You know.
Right. Yeah, and you never know if we could have come from the same area. I'll leave it at that, and still not been related because they took the name of the people who were running things on those plantations.
One more quick question, gentlemen. Would you do? Have you done the ancestry.com? Any of those? Would you do any of those?
I've done some. I've done some.
Okay.
Yeah,
Me
my
too.
people are from down near Boone, North Carolina, down in that area,
Okay.
on my father's side of the family, on the Moore side of the family.
Okay. All right. On my father's side, it's Bartow, Florida. On my mother's side, it's the Tallahassee, Pensacola area. Rev said he ain't touching it. What do
Okay,
you know? He knows.
but Princess said, what did you say? Tallahatchie,
Tallahassee.
Oh, that's Seminole country, isn't it?
Yeah. My grandmother was a Seminole Indian.
All right, all right.
Awesome.
Yeah. Other than that, I don't claim anything Seminole. No,
Oh boy.
no.
Oh boy.
Haters all day. All right. Okay, Lowe's more. I'm sorry. Here we go. Go ahead, Duck and Tim.
All right. Before I even get started, Lowe's, and I know Lowe's can adhere to this because the other day, when I came back from New Jersey, uh, the cover sat, I call us the Birchley crew because we live on on Birchley. Uh, So I was saying, hey guys, excited about, I was texting them, hey, people up in Philadelphia excited about LeBron James. So everybody, was kind of responding and stuff. Mike, Jay, Frank, Z. So they responded. So I'm going to the store and I'm kind of read their comments. So I ran into Richard, who's is on our cover set too. And I was telling him about it, and he said, "Oh, they're talking about LeBron. What about Bob Cousy?" It made me think of Coming to America, the barbershop.
Why Bob Cousy? I'm
Now,
Yeah, yeah, I'm
LeBron,
like it.
LeBron is old, but he's not Bob Cousy old.
Right. But the guy, he's not one of us. But anyway, uh,
I
I'm
like to
looking
be
like,
I like to be
so,
again.
but
Okay.
anyway, I just thought that was interesting. We talking LeBron, he talking Bob Cousy. So I'm like, okay. But anyway, all right. Lowe's, kind of bring us up to date. How did it all get started for you from Pop Warner to middle school to high school? Kind of take us through Lowe's more.
Well, it started for me in elementary school, and the desire to. I guess we all played every sport coming up as a little kid in the playground, based on seasons. But in elementary school, I tell this story, all the time because um, the Knicks hadn't won a championship, so I ended up the Knicks won a championship in 1970. And every day, for most of my elementary school experience, every teacher, every homeroom teacher used to ask you, what are you going to be when you grow up? And for me, for me, whatever I seen the night before is what I was the next day. I mean, police officer, doctor, whatever I was looking at on TV was, but the Knicks won the championship and I got an opportunity to see it on television, the parade. And although I seen the confetti, although my television was black and white, I still seen the confetti, so I woke up, I took a piece of paper and I wrote on a piece of paper, NBA New York Knicks, and I taped it on the wall. And I went to school the next day, man. And before my teacher, my homeroom teacher, could ask me what I wanted to be, I said, Miss Williams, I know what I want to be. And she said, "Oh, what's that?" I said, "I want to play in the NBA, and I want to play for the New York Knicks." And you know, just writing something down was the first time that I actually wrote something down, uh, something I was dreaming about that could become a goal. And so when it prompted me to ask the question, hey, how do I become one? How do I become an NBA player? How do I play for the New York Knicks? And she said, her response was, hey, you have to graduate elementary school. You have to graduate middle school and you have to graduate high school and you have to go to college. And I was thinking in my mind, now I need to ask somebody else about this. So when I went to gym, my gym teacher was a world class athlete. I mean, track star, basketball player, and I mean, extremely fast, jump out the gym, Mr. Grimes. So I went to Mr. Grimes. I said, man, he's a gym teacher, so he's gonna give me a better answer than what Miss Williams gave me. So when I asked him, I said, look, hey, Mr. Grimes, I know what I want to be when I grow up. And he said, what's that? I said, I want to play in the NBA. I want to play for the New York Knicks. Can you give me some advice? He said, yes, you need to graduate elementary school. You need to graduate middle school. You need to go to high school, and then you need to go to college. And I went home that afternoon. I looked at that paper on the wall. I was like, do I like basketball or do I love basketball? And I realized that I love basketball, and it was a turning point, in my life. Even though my goal was not to get more education, my goal was to play ball and not go to school. So that was the goal. But it changed everything for me at that period of time. And then I think a a divine process started to happen for me after that. I left walking walking home from school, in which your parents always say, hey, look, you go straight to school and you go straight back. You don't talk to strangers. You don't stop anywhere. And I happened to walk by this building that I walked by every day since I was in elementary school. And my friends left me and started to go into this building. And I'm like, where you guys going? Because usually we walk home every day. And I walk in with them and I said, what is this? And they said, this is the boys club. And they took me on a tour of the game room upstairs and they showed me this huge gym. I was like, wow, I got to go home and tell my mother about this. And I did. I went home. I told my mother about it. I said, I want to become a member of the boys club. Make a long story short, about a month later, started basketball uh, tryouts, which I didn't know what that was. Somebody asked me if I wanted to make the team. And I was like, yeah, I like to be on a team, but I never had any organized experience, basketball experience. So all I'm playing the playground, all the parks in the street, just, any way you could play. I was playing. I tried out for the team, a month later, I tried out for the team along with my friend and we both get cut. And I was thinking like, Wow. I'm going home and I'm like disappointed, but my friend, he's jumping up and down. He's excited. I'm like, man, what is wrong with you? We didn't make the team. My name wasn't on the list. And he said, man, we going over to the Northside Boys Club on Saturday. Man, I'm coming to get you. And I was like, look, I'm not going to another club to get cut again. That was a bad feeling. That was like the worst feeling. That's about as bad as failing a test, man. And Saturday morning, my doorbell rings in the projects, and my mother said, "Hey, look, get up, Lobes. David's here." I'm like, "I ain't going." And, and eventually, he come back in the room, man. He's happy go lucky. He convinced me to go over to the North Side Boys and Girls Club, and we signed in just like we did on the south side. And as we're going down the stairs, a little guy is coming up the stairs, man. He said, "Hey, you guys want to play basketball?" And we were like, "Yeah." And he said, "Come on, I got some uniforms for you." And they put us on a team. We didn't even try out. And during the game, my first game, they put me in the game, man. I didn't know what to do because I've never really I played in the playground, and ended up that I stole the ball and I'm going for a layup, and I'm thinking the coach is, he's waving his hands like, I'm thinking the coach is like cheering me on. So I make the basket. He calls timeout. I come to the side. He said, "Look, you just scored in the wrong bucket, the wrong basket." So I was like, I was disappointed. I know he's gonna cut me now. And I go on. He said, "Don't worry about it. Just keep playing." So I played that game, and at the end of the game, he said, "Hey, there's not a lot I could do with you, but I'm gonna send you to my brother." So I didn't, I didn't know what that meant, and I found out later he coached a B team and his brother coached an A team, and the divine part about it is that David and I, that was a moment in time that we no longer was connected because he was on the B team, I was on the A team, and our life took two different directions. Unfortunately, his didn't end well, right, and mine took off. And I used to always say before he passed, when I was doing some community work, he would be coming down the street, and I said, if it wasn't for that guy, I wouldn't be who I am.
Wow.
And I would call him over. "This is my man David," and we hug and stuff like that. And I tell the people that story. But my life changed after that experience with David. And I always imagine what would have happened to me if I didn't get up on that Saturday and go with David.
Wow.
But that was the start of my career. Meeting Mr. Jones, who was an avid Boston Celtics fan, Red Auerbach. I mean, during the game, his name was James Jones, but they always called him Big Red. And I mean, he changed my life in terms of the mental aspect of the game, the physical aspect of the game. He gave out like these big books with all the plays, defenses, offenses, and motivational writings from Bill Russell and Nate Archibald and all these different guys. And he made us study. We became students of the game, and it really, for me, that really, the Sonics and the Northside Boys Club was the launching pad for my career.
Amen.
Okay, now how long did you play at the boys club, with girls and boys club?
Um, I played from elementary school up until high school. Just when in my freshman year, um, I tried out my freshman year for varsity, and I got cut. No, I didn't get cut. Yeah, I did. I got cut from varsity because a freshman had never played varsity. So I get cut and I go to the JV. and I went to the JV team, and every player besides me was from the South Side Club. So the South Side, 14 players South Side, one player North Side. And I spent like 2 weeks and I never got touched the ball. I never touched the ball at all. And I decided I told Mr. Jones at the North Side that what had happened. He said, "Hey man, you need to come back here and play and you need to continue to improve your game." And then so I quit JV and went back and played for the Boys and Girls Club, or the Boys Club back then, my ninth grade year. And I just improved. I got so much better my sophomore. It was no denying that I was going to play on a team. And, but yeah, I mean, that's, you know, the story of a lifetime. I mean, in even in the midst of that, man, I tell you, that ninth grade, being, having to make a decision as a young person to leave your JV team when your goal is to play professionally, was a big step for me. And then I learned at the end of my freshman year, Mr. Jones, who came to my counseling session as we transitioned from ninth to 10th grade towards the end of the year, Mr. Jones came to my counseling session because my mother couldn't make it. And when we walked in, first thing Mr. Jones said to my counselor was like, Lowe's is going to college. But when immediately my counselor, Mr. Boyle, he got up and went to the cabin and he got my file. And he came back, opened it up, and he said that I was a level 5 student, which means only a level 3, 2, or 1 is a potential college student. And he started to read my report saying that I was reading I'm in the ninth grade, but I'm reading at a seventh grade level. And it prompted me to ask the question if there was something I could do. And at the time they had a remedial program, and I spent the rest of my freshman year into my sophomore year in a remedial program, learning to reread, how to read phonetic sounds, phonics, all those things. And between my end of my freshman year and my sophomore year, I ended up going from a level 5 to a level 3. And what I found out in that experience was, it wasn't that I couldn't read,
Hmm.
right? Is that I was not taught properly the skills of how to read. And I was afraid. It was fear. And I always had fear of education, always had a fear of reading. But when I became a better reader, I became a better writer, I became a better test taker. And because I no longer was in fear of failing, right, I excelled as an athlete. So once my academics became stable, I became excellent at playing basketball.
Wow.
Now, Lowe's, where did you play your sophomore year? Did you stay on the north side?
My sophomore year, I made varsity on my Mount Vernon High School team as a sophomore.
Okay.
And yeah. I left the Boys and Girls Club. Of course, I played with the Boys and Girls Club during the summer. And Mr. Jones coached everybody because he had 5 or 6 teams, you know. And during the summertime, we really, you have no idea the kind of work we put in during the summertime. And then he coached guys before me. So he had, your Rudy Hackett's, your Gus Williams, your Earl Tatum's, you know, Sam Williams, and he had below us we had Rodney and Scooter McCrae. I mean, so Mr. Jones had us during the summertime. We played in summer league, man, and we worked out like we were in college.
Wow.
Okay. Now, when did you realize, hey, you know, I might be ready for the college level?
Oh, I knew, Sam Williams. I always, for me, this is just my personal things. The Williams brothers in high school. I'm not going to say college, but in high school, Sam Williams. You put Gus, Ray, and Sam in high school, brothers, three brothers. I thought that Sam was the best high school player I had seen, and even though Gus got cut his freshman year, his sophomore year, and his junior year, and he made varsity as a senior, scored over 600 points in the senior year, and got a full scholarship to USC. Right, that was amazing. But Sam was just such a great player. Right, but I believed in my sophomore at the end of my sophomore year, I believed I was a college player already. Because I averaged 18 points. We won the championship, and then I averaged like 20, 28 as a junior, and then 24 as a senior. As my team improved.
Okay. Now, when did you start getting noticed by the colleges? When did they start coming in?
My first letter was my sophomore year. I carried that thing like I was carrying my Bible, man. Like somebody had just gave me a check, you know. uh, sent me. I'll never forget when I got that letter came in the mail and the coach gave it to me and I looked at it and I said Kansas University and they had that bird, the colorful bird, the blue and red bird on the end of it, and I was start thinking like I was carrying that thing like I had a bookmark, you know. And they in the letter they was talking about they were interested in me, wanted me to consider them, so forth and so on. And I was just carrying that letter around, man. So I started getting noticed my sophomore year.
Okay. Now, you go into your junior year, your senior year. Now, when do you start visiting schools, and what schools did you visit?
You could visit as many schools as you wanted. And my senior year, I had scheduled because I was being recruited by North Carolina State. I was being recruited by UCLA, Notre Dame, and West Virginia wasn't even actually in the picture, right? And it ended up happening, man. The school I wanted to go to was North Carolina State. I was a big fan of David Thompson, and I'm originally from North Carolina, so I knew my grandparents and all my cousins and uncles and everybody was in North Carolina, so I wanted to go there. I didn't want to go to North Carolina because I didn't want to be behind Phil Ford.
Hmm.
He was a great player at North Carolina, great point guard at North Carolina. I didn't want to be behind him, and you know, and it ended up that my coach, my high school coach, wanted to. He was looking for college positions, and all of a sudden, my letters started to change from those schools until until like Iowa, Utah, and it's like he was trying to ride this wave of becoming a college coach. And Duck would remember Coach Jim Amick. He was
Yeah.
assistant coach at West Virginia, and my not my counselor, but another counselor from another division must have known Coach Amick. And Coach Amick came in with a reel, reel to reel.
Mm, right.
And they called me out of class. I go down. He introduced me to Coach Amick. Coach Amick said I'm from West Virginia, and he showed me the film, and I got excited about when I saw Jerry West. I heard the name Jerry West. I was like, oh, Jerry West went to West Virginia, and I was like, oh man, So when I started to set my schedule for my visits, West Virginia was my first visit. In North Carolina State, North Carolina, then UCLA was those visits. But when I hit West Virginia, I went there to West Virginia for my visit. That was it, man. I didn't go on to another visit. I went there. I saw the Coliseum. I saw the PRTs. I saw when I saw the Coliseum and fans was going crazy. You know, I mean, uh, I just like, yeah, I want to play here. And when I got signed, pretty interesting. When I committed to West Virginia, I committed to West Virginia, and I didn't go on any more trips. I took and Coach Amick lived in Mount Vernon. I mean, this guy every weekend he was there, and my mom was making him dinner. You can't do that stuff no more. But she was making him dinner, dessert, everything, right? And he came to see me in the Whitney M. Young tournament, and I mean, he's the only white guy out there, man. He's just like you know. He wasn't afraid, man. They was about one when we got to a game, man. One kid was there. He had won a trophy. A little young kid won a big trophy, and he was sitting on the bench crying. He's like, "Yo," Coach Amy was like, "What's wrong with your son?" He said, "Like, hey, I got this nice trophy. I'm not gonna get home with it. Somebody's gonna take it from me." And man, he took the kid and put him in the car and drove him home. You
Wow.
know, I was like, "Oh, I like him." And then one time he came in, he said, "I'm coming in on Saturday." I was like, "Okay, meet us at the club." And we realized I was in bed and Mr. Jones was at home. And I realized, I said, "Mr. Jones," I called him up real quick. I said, Coach Amos coming in today, the Saturday morning, right? Yeah. He's like, "Yeah, isn't there a black Muslim uh uh fi- festival in the Boys and Girls Club?" He's like, "Yeah." Oh man, we better get down there, man. They're gonna kill Coach Amos, like we get down there and Coach Amick is smelling all the oils and buying incense. I mean, and my mother loved Coach Amick. I love Coach Amick, and he was along with the Coliseum and him were the main reasons I went there. I knew that I was going to be taken care of.
Okay, you come in your freshman year. Are you nervous? You get a feel for the team. Your thought process.
Well, I mean, when you read the articles, I mean, hey, they got the best recruit since Jerry West. I mean, I'm like, what? So there's a lot of pressure coming in. And then, players are there already, like Bobby Huggins,
Mhm.
Tony Robinson, Russell Chapman, Sid Bostic. I mean, Maurice Lucas, not Maurice Luke, Maurice Robertson. You come in and these guys they like juniors and seniors. So I'm coming in thinking, and they would, I think when we had pickup, I think Bobby Huggins thought like, "Hey man, this is a top recruit, man. I'm a top 25 player, high school player in the nation." you know, Along with Ralph Sampson and Magic Johnson. I mean, I'm a parade All American. I mean, so I'm coming in. So I think Bobby felt a little threatened, man, and we almost got into it a couple times. But I mean, I played hard. I wasn't afraid, right? I wasn't afraid. I wasn't afraid of the moment. I loved the game and I wanted to play and I wanted to win. And I didn't know if I was going to start as a freshman, wasn't thinking about it. I just wanted to play. And so I ended up being like the sixth man, the first person off the bench. And I played well. I wasn't afraid of the moment. And I remember playing against Duquesne, and they had Norm Nixon. Norm Nixon was a senior. I was a freshman. And I remember, man, me and him going at it. We just battling. And then the news report, all the media after was like, "Hey, man, you're a freshman, man. How did you compete with Noam Nixon like that?" And I said, "Well, when you grow up playing against Gus Williams, Ray Williams, Earl Tatum, Sam Williams, right? You're never really afraid of the moment, man. And, and I compete against them every summer. We in the gym, right? And we compete. I've been competing against them since I was in high school. I've been watching them since I was in middle school, So I wasn't afraid of the moment. I was just ready to go.
Now, Lowe's, you go from your freshman year, your sophomore year. and you're having, you're being productive. But now the big move is a change of coaches going into your junior year. Kind of take us through that.
Yeah, it was it was weird. Everybody that wasn't playing wanted a new coach. I mean, I guess that's what happens when you're not playing. Like, oh, I'm not. It's not being fair. I'm not getting. I said, man, you guys got to be careful what you ask for. Because it's the end of my sophomore year. I'm an All American as a sophomore. I averaged 21 points a game, man. I mean, I came off with 40 points at Notre Dame, 38 at Ohio State. I mean, like, I'm balling, man. So I don't know about what, I'm not mad. I don't want to see the coaches that recruit me go. And we end up getting Coach Catlett. Things kind of changed after that. And from my first meeting, right? When I first met with him, I think he wanted me to say something, and he kept asking me because he kept me in there longer than he met with all the players, and he kept me in there longer than everybody. I didn't, other people 15 minutes, 20 minutes, man. I'm in there for almost an hour, and he's not saying nothing, but he's asking me one question consistently. He said, "What's your goal?" And I kept saying, my goal is to win the conference championship, to win the NCAA championship. That's why I'm here, right? I don't care about anything else other than we should win. I've been winning since I was a kid. I won in high school. I'm looking to win in college. And he just kept asking me, talking to me and asking me the same question. And, I'm young, so I don't know, you know. And I finally said, all right, I want to break Jerry West's record like that. He said, oh, you ain't never gonna do that. And my whole 2 years from that point, like my first 20 games, it was in and out, up and down, in and out, up and down. And like it was like that my junior year and senior year, and got to the last 10 games. If you look at the last 10 games, man, I was getting 20, 28, 30. Because it got to a point where he knew there was no way I was going to reach. I wasn't even trying to reach Jerry West record. I was just trying to win, right? And so it was a difficult uh, 2 years, And then you got a new coach. I haven't been recruited by him. He doesn't believe I'm his player, but I'm one of the best players in the Eastern Eight at that time, and so it was very difficult experience. Actually, Joe Frizz, may rest in peace, my backcourt mate, sent me about 10 tapes from my junior and senior year. I looked at one of them and just started to cry because I didn't know who I was. Right. I wouldn't look at any of the rest of them, man, because I just couldn't deal with what I was experiencing. You had to play through whatever you were being dealt, whatever cards you were being dealt. You just had to learn to play through it. And I think potentially that's impacted me. A couple of things that impacted me to the draft, from being a third round draft pick to a first round draft pick, was, the up and down of my those 2 years, and then no release of my information to the NBA scouts in my that was requested in my senior year. So I
Okay.
should have been a first round pick, but I ended
Oh
up
yeah.
being a third round.
Trust me, we all used to talk about you, Lo. That's without a doubt. Now, Lowe's, now you're getting ready for the NBA. Now, how was that?
Well, I was a little disappointed on being drafted. I'm with my agent. It was not like it was today being drafted. I mean, I went to Portsmouth, where all the best college players, go to, and where the scouts get to look at you. I was believing I was a first round draft pick. I believe I was going in the first round draft pick. So I was with my agent in California working out and waiting for the draft. And the day of the draft was, they didn't have like where you call you up, get a hat and stuff like that. But I was sitting there, man, and as the rounds passed, because they're, probably about 30 players, 25 players per round or something like that. And it just I fell to the third round, like the third pick in the third round. And I was only part I was excited about that I got drafted by the Nets, and they were in New Jersey. And I also realized that, in the first round, you're guaranteed money for the first 3 to 5 years. And your third round pick, you got you got to make the team, man. So in free agent and rookie camp, you're going to get up against free agents and rookies. That none of that really bothered me, right? None of that. The experience of what happened to me bothered me, but I had to put that in the back of my mind, and I believed I was going to make the team. It was no doubt that I was going to make the Nets, but I had to compete. You know what I'm saying? Harder than I probably ever did. You go Ernie Carr from Boston College, Roy Sproul from Villanova. I mean, it was just so many great players. They ended up, I knew I was going to stay. They ended up trading Eddie Jordan, who had been there for the Nets for a while. And so I said, once they traded Eddie Jordan, I realized that I was going to make the team. But then I had coaching change, like go say fired Lockery, who loved me and who was playing me in my rookie year, a tremendous amount of time. And they fired him and they brought in somebody else. And, you're on those teams with bad organizations at that time, the Nets, Cleveland, Clippers. But I always believed, man, that I was always an NBA player. Right. And I knew I was an NBA player, not after my sophomore year. And I had a great year that year. Right. And even I had an up and down year in my junior year. But when I looked in the mirror, I saw a more mature me. My body had matured. I mean, my mental capacity for the game had accelerated. I could do whatever I wanted on the court. And it was just, I knew I was a pro as a junior. Right. And yeah, the NBA experience I loved. I loved the NBA experience, competing against the best, competing against Dr. J and Larry Bird and competing against Magic and oh man, just like a dream come true, man. I just wanted to get between 5 and 10 years, and I end up with 3.
Now, Lowe's, didn't you shut Michael Jordan down?
No, that didn't happen. Nah, that didn't happen. I mean, Michael was a rookie. Uh, I was with the Kansas City. I was trying out with the Kansas City Kings because my career started being up and down and stuff like that. And then every year that goes by, they're always looking for younger players, right? And so if you don't stable yourself right away, if you can't become stable right away, the chance is going to be very difficult. And I was trying out with the Kansas City Kings that later on became the Sacramento Kings. Right. And I was sitting on the bench and we were Mike was in his rookie year and I'm sitting on the bench and the game starts. I see Michael's being guarded by Reggie Theus and he's guarding Reggie Theus. I mean, he's torching the first quarter. He is torching Reggie Theus. I mean, like one, somebody in the pros playing against somebody in middle school. And I'm looking out there and I'm thinking because I always believe, I don't care who's on the floor. I don't care Magic, Bird, Kareem. I don't care who's on the floor. I always believe I was the best player. Right. When I saw Michael, I was like, the landscape has changed. It's like, it's like somebody took me 6'1", 6'1", 6'2". Somebody took me and stretched me and I'm 6'6". And I jump higher and I'm quicker and I'm faster and I'm more intense than I've ever been in my life. And I'm thinking yo, this dude is better than me. And I heard the coach say, Lowe's, go get Reggie. I'm like, oh shoot. I, I get up and I go to coach and I was like, yo, coach, do you want me to be a point guard or you want me to ball? He said, I want you to be a point guard. I said, I knew I was in trouble then. Because, see, if he had said, I want you to ball, me and Jordan would have had a shootout at the OK Corral. We would have just been going through. Yeah, but no, Jordan, not better than Jordan. He's the greatest player I ever seen. Because that guy never takes a second off.
All right, now, Lowe's, we want to tell the listeners, especially Tim and the Princess. Now, who'd you grow up with?
In Mount Vernon?
Yeah.
Well, of course, I grew up with Denzel Washington. I grew up with, of course, a lot of great basketball players. I mentioned Earl Tatum, Rudy Hackett, um, Gus Wynn, the Williams brothers. Um, I grew up in the Boys and Girls Club with JB Smoove.
He wasn't
Right.
trying to play basketball, was
Yeah, he was trying. I mean, you had no choice growing up.
okay.
You had no choice. Everybody had to play, And then below me, man, while I was in college, man, there was, everybody. We realized in Mount Vernon that everybody wasn't going to be a ball player, so people started to see that, hey, man, we got these great basketball players, right? I need to find my niche. I need to find what I do well, And so Denzel, he found the acting, and JB found the being a comedian, and of course you and an actor, and then you had historically from our hometown there's Dick Clark, Art Carney, um, was from Mount Vernon. They graduated from Mount Vernon, and so you had the Brinkers. I mean, you had Ralph Brinker, who the shot heard around the world, played with Jackie Robinson, Ralph Brinker, John Brinker, who ended up being the New York State boxing commissioner, and then you had his son John Brinker Jr., right? Who, if you seen the movie Michael, he was Michael's lawyer, and we signed at the same time. And I signed with John Brinker at the same time, the same day. So it's a lot of people. Leon, the actor Leon, right? We had so many people that lived in Mount Vernon, from Stephanie Mills to Sidney Poitier. I mean, yeah. Mount Vernon is 4.2 square miles, very, very special place.
Okay.
Money earning Mount Vernon.
Yeah, that's our theme song. That's our theme song. And we had Jeff, Jeff Red.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm in Virginia Beach now. My wife and I are celebrating our 43rd wedding anniversary and her birthday. Over the weekend
Congratulations.
we had a reunion, Mount Vernon reunion in Virginia Beach. So we just
Okay.
decided to stay here, and Jeff Red came and sang for us.
Wow.
All right.
Yeah.
Hey,
Yeah.
Lowe's, glad to have you on the program. I heard you mention that Denzel grew up with you. I understand that he played a little ball. Didn't he go to Hofstra or someplace to play ball?
Fordham University.
Fordham.
He,
Okay.
he was on the JV.
Okay. Okay. He
Well,
could he play? Could he hoop?
um, you had to, if you're gonna play in a boys' club, you had to have a little game.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Oh, you can't get on the court. And
Okay.
everybody had to get on the court. They just didn't do well. But Denzel was very fun, very, very fundamentally sound, an average athlete, loved football. His
Okay.
thing was football. And his mom sent him away because he kind of grew up in that era of the what we call American gangster, the
Uh huh.
area of drugs and heroin and all that. His mother had to get him away. A lot of his friends went to prison, and his mother sent him away to a private school upstate New York. Played football up there, played basketball up there, and of course he, played JV at Fordham University before he got into the acting. He
Okay.
did he did the play Othello in Fordham. Somebody said, "Hey man, he just took a theater class," and somebody said, "Hey." the theater teacher said, you ever consider acting? And he said, no, I haven't. And he said, well, I got this part coming up. I want you to try out for it, see if you audition for it. And he did. He did well, and he did Othello, in Fordham University. So, yeah.
Is his father like Church of God in Christ pastor or something like that?
Yes, he
Okay.
was he was a Pentecostal pastor.
Okay. Hey,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
thought I'd heard that.
Hmm.
You said something early on about how when you were young and the teacher asked you what you wanted to be, you went after you saw the Knicks win the championship and wrote down that you wanted to play in the NBA. And I was thinking you then made the statement that seemed like things unfolded in a divine kind of way, and that's scripture. Habakkuk 2 it said, "Write the vision and make it plain upon the tables, that he may run with it."
Hmm.
Sounds like that's what happened because during that period of time um, he was given a prophecy that Israel would be overrun by the Babylonians because of their evilness, and that they went through a tough time there, but they came out on the other side victorious. And it sounds like your journey seems to be very similar to that. You just speak to that?
Yeah, but like the Israel had a tough time too, man.
Yeah.
Even though there was a prophecy,
Yes, sir.
because even though I wrote those things down when I graduated from elementary school, and I still had the same goals, the same dreams, but I still wasn't the confident. Probably an introvert. Wasn't confident, and I got to the seventh grade and I got left back. Right. So, and then now I find myself in the seventh grade again with people that used to be in the sixth grade. And I had to go through, like Israel, I had to go through,
Right.
you know, I went through and got to the eighth grade and they had this special program, if you do well within your first three marking periods that they would put me in back to my original grade on a trial basis.
Ah, okay.
Yeah. And so I went through that program. And I didn't look again. Once I hit ninth grade, I never returned. Right, but right there in the middle school, when I say divine, because Earl Tatum was being recruited by Marquette.
Bad boy. Bad boy.
Yeah, yeah, Marquette University, and Al McGuire came to my middle school.
Who was from New York, right? Al
Yeah, he
McGuire.
was from New York, but he was the head coach of Marquette,
Marquette, right.
and he came to recruit Earl, but the the high school varsity coach was my gym teacher. So I'm playing in the gym and he sees me playing in the gym. He asked the coach if I could speak to him. And he brought me over and he said, hey, what's your name? I said, Lowe's Moore. He said, hey, man, if you keep playing, if you keep improving on your game and you do well in school, I'm going to come back and recruit you to my college. And I was like, I had heard college. Remember, I'm sixth grade.
Right.
Yeah, graduate from elementary school, graduate from middle school, go to high school, and go to college. That's when it resonated. I was like, college. That's what he said, college. Okay. I don't know what he's talking about, but that's what it sound good.
Right.
Yeah, yeah. But I got to meet Al McGuire, and I went. Of course, I went through this experience that I went through once I got to the ninth grade, finding out I was deficient in my ability to read and write. So, yeah, it didn't happen. The the prophecy or the divine, because the guy I was dribbling, I was dribbling in front of my projects on the other side of the street, and this guy came up to me, and I was a little kid. I was like elementary school. I'm dribbling my ball. And he comes up to me and says, hey, man, you're pretty good with that ball. And I'm like, I look at him like, yeah, as I'm dribbling my ball, because my mother said, don't talk to strangers.
Hmm.
Right. And so as I'm dribbling my ball, he was like, hey, man, you're going to do great things with that ball, man, young man. And I was like, what? And that guy entered my life after that. And he would come to the playground. He said, like, we thought he was like this weird old guy. Right. And he come in like he could play and he couldn't really play. right? He was like terrible, and he said, if you, and one day he just said to us out of nowhere, man, if you think I could play, man, you should hear me preach. I was like, what? If you preach like you play, no. And as I got a little older, I was in church and I heard him preach, man. I was like, oh man. And he was so awesome. How he delivered that word was so awesome. He ended up becoming my spiritual advisor.
Good deal. Good deal.
When I was having the trouble in West Virginia at the end of when we changed coaches, he advised me, So you talk about divine, that's divine. Was it easy? No, it wasn't easy because somebody prophesied doesn't necessarily mean it's easy, right? It means you got to work.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. No doubt.
Yeah, yeah. So, yeah, I believe in that. I got it. Of course, I went to church with my mother up until 13. My mother stopped forcing me to go, but I got saved at 14. So I've been in God for a long time, and I would never made it through the whole West Virginia experience. Duck, no, I guess we all on the phone know about the trials, tests, and temptation that happens when you leave home and go to college.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
Especially Tim and Duck. Yes, they.
Oh,
Yeah,
please.
and we know what happens if you playing ball or something. That's and don't be great at it, because then every temptation in the world opens up for you.
Wow, wow.
Princess?
Yeah, we're about out of time. I just wanted to ask, who was the biggest trash talker you ever played against? I work with mine too on podcasts. They're but who's the biggest you've ever played against? Biggest trash talker.
Larry Bird.
A lot of people say that. Larry Bird. Wow.
Larry Bird. He talked all the time. He just didn't stop talking. You know. And my first meeting with him, I was with Cleveland, and he didn't say much on the Nets. He just killed us. Killed us softly. But when I was at Cleveland, man, he was still talking. I was starting. I came on the court, and he's like, "Hey, young fella." I was like, "Yeah." He's like, "Man, my first shot of the game is I'm going to the right side. They're gonna throw me the ball. I'm going to the middle of the lane. I'm gonna shoot a left hand hook from the free throw line." And I was like, I don't know what he wanted me to say, but and he did. He went straight to the thing. They threw him the ball. He dribbled to the left free throw line, shot like the sky hook from the free throw line, hit nothing but net. He started pointing at me like he was shooting guns. I'm like, this guy's ridiculous. Yeah, just talk trash all the time, man. You know.
All right, we're gonna have to leave it there. I wanted to get to some Florida Gators win the national championship in men's basketball, but we didn't get.
Oh, boy.
Boy, get your girl.
Oh, boy.
I'm surprised y'all didn't ask me about like LeBron and all that stuff, man.
Well, we
No, we're not finished with you. We got to get you on doing hoop season.
yeah, we
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
part two for sure because I could have done a whole show about LeBron by myself. I'm a huge fan.
Okay.
Oh my
Okay.
God.
Yeah,
Okay.
I love LeBron. I told my wife, I love LeBron. I did the battleground. If y'all look it up on YouTube, I think I showed Duck,
Oh
where I
yeah.
was the coach of New York, and Andre Iguodala was the coach of, along with Ben Gordon. I was the coach of New York, and LeBron was the host of the battleground on
Well,
MTV and Nike. It was a great experience.
I'm gonna
So
send.
I've known him for a while.
I'm gonna send
Yeah.
him.
Pull and Princess and Tim, y'all need to pull it up. I like I'm on episode 6 or something.
okay.
Okay. All right, we gotta get reset for our next show. Lowe's, thank you,
You welcome.
and we'll get you back. Okay.
I hope I was okay.
You
All
were
right.
more than
Appreciate you, though. All
All right. Thank you.
right.
right. Never had so good. We'll reset here and get ready for our 7 o'clock show. All right. See you
All
next
right.
week, Tim and Doug. Thank you, Lowe's.
You welcome.